This tiny bottle cap spins round, unscratched veneer while traffic dies down. My lanyard lies beside my phone screen, dark at last, finally alone. 9 hours spent agreeing with the screen, nodding along the things I didn't mean. The bitter clear liquid hits my throat, sinking softly like an unanswered boat. Another day traded for a modest pay, washing off the false smiles from today. Nobody asked how the weight really feels, just how fast the company machine wheels. So I pour another glass for the silence. No noise left, no crowded office violence. Just green glass glowing under amber light, untangling my thoughts into the night. A quiet toast to surviving the week, finding the peace I was too tired to seek. The ice cube melts into a faint square, reflecting amber street lights out of nowhere. My manager sent a note at 6 p.m. sharp. I left it unread, didn't play along her heart. My shoulders drop an inch with every sip, sipping slow so the real me doesn't slip. I used to have bigger dreams than this seat, now I just want quiet and something to eat. Another day traded for a modest pay, washing off the false smiles from today. Nobody asks how the weight really feels, just how fast the company machine wheels. So I pour another glass for the silence. No noise left, no crowded office violence. Just green glass glowing under amber light, untangling my thoughts into the night. A quiet toast to surviving the week, finding the peace I was too tired to seek. Tomorrow, the alarm will trigger the rush, back to the subway suffocating crush. But right here, right now, the clock stands still. Liquor filling up the voids I cannot fill. Just make this drink and a moment to breathe. The bottle cap stops spinning at last, letting go of the day that passed. Just one glass to set me free, late night monologue just for me. Heavy bus brakes hits against the damp asphalt outside. You slide into the booth, shoulder still way down by 9 to 5. Unbutton your collar, drop your badge on the Formica table. We don't have to talk about quarterly goals or being stable. Just let the traffic rumble past the neon sign. I already ordered green bottles and 2 glasses of beer with lime. You've been holding your breath since Monday morning came, trying so hard to play along in somebody else's game. But tonight under these red vinyl sheets, we're just 2 exhausted kids off the city streets. So pour a glass and let the foam spill over the rim. Tell me every little frustration you kept buried deep within. The manager didn't notice, the subway took an extra hour. Just wash it all down, let the cold alcohol take the power. You worked hard today, my friend, that's all that matters now. The grill in the corner fills the tent with savory smoke. You laugh through your teeth at a terrible tired joke. Your phone lights up with another urgent email pop-up screen. Flip it face down, pretend it's something you never even seen. Remember when we thought 30 was a lifetime away? Now we're just counting down the minutes to survive the day. So pour a glass and let the foam spill over the rim. Tell me every little frustration you kept buried deep within. The manager didn't notice, the subway took an extra hour. Just wash it all down, let the cold alcohol take the power. You worked hard today, my friend, that's all that matters now. We aren't changing the world or running any victory lap. We're just trying to pay our rent and avoid the trap. If tomorrow demands too much again, let it wait outside the door. Right now on this plastic chair, care. You don't have to prove a thing anymore. One last toast before the final train hums down the track. Take a deep breath, push the weight right off your back. You made it through another relentless day. I'm right here drinking with you anyway. Burnt charcoal smoke drifts through the alleyway, mixing with autumn rain on wet concrete. He sits alone beside the steaming grill, unbuttons his top collar in the heat. The green glass bottle rattles on the wood, shot glass filled right up to the rim. Another long shift buried in the dark. Now only cold, clear liquid speaks to him. He taps the table once and takes a breath. Exhalations turning into gray mist, wiping off the sweat from his forehead, scratching out another item on the list. One glass to drown the heavy office hours, one drink to let the quiet night take over. He watches neon reflected in the street, sip by sip until the pain grows softer. Chill beats bumping softly through his headphones, tired feet resting on the plastic floor. He leaves the heavy burden of his daytime outside the sliding glass door.
Yeah, his phone lights up with emails from the boss. He flips it face down on the sticky mat. The smell of grilled pork belly fills his coat, while shadows stretch across his crumpled hat. 401 and change inside his palm, a little buzz to numb the daily grind. Nobody asks him how his spirit feels, so he drinks to leave his thoughts behind.
He taps the table once and takes a breath. Exhalations turning into gray mist, wiping off the sweat from his forehead, scratching out another item on the list. One glass to drown the heavy office hours, one drink to let the quiet night take over. He watches neon reflected in the street, sip by sip until the pain grows softer. Chill beats bumping softly through his headphones, tired feet resting on the plastic floor. He leaves the heavy burden of his daytime outside the sliding glass door. The street lamp flickers amber through the steam. He pours a second round for his own ghost. No speech needed, no performance left to give to the silent hour. He makes a quiet toast. The alley smell of fried food slowly fades. He pulls his jacket tight against the chill. Empty glass left standing on the table. City sleeping, everything is still. A sudden memory cuts through quiet as the street lamp blinks. The alley table sits outside, sticky with spilled cider drinks. Blue plastic chair beneath my legs, jacket hanging on the back. The green glass bottle sweating dark, resting on a wooden rack. I watch the clear liquid hit the small rimmed glass, counting up the endless hours as the train cars pass. My shadow stretches thin against the brick wall red, sorting through the heavy words my manager just said. The condensation drops down to the rim. Street lights flicker low, glowing rather dim. Nobody is calling me this late at night, just the signboards dripping yellow light. Pouring one for hours.
안장맞춰 curtain flaps against the night air chill. An apron lady stirs the pot while the dark grows still. My phone screen lights up with a missed call from my mom. I swipe it down and breathe into the quiet calm.
Steam rises off the spicy broth in tiny clouds, so far away from all the crowded subway crowds. One shot burns a path down to my heavy chest, finally giving all these tangled thoughts a rest. The condensation drops down to the rim. Street lights flicker low, glowing rather dim. Nobody is calling me this late at night, just the signboards dripping yellow light, pouring on for hours that I sold away, washing out the salt of another gray work day. Glass meets glass, a tiny hollow sound. City keeps on spinning while my world slows down, tasting cold relief upon a tired tongue, wishing for the times when we were reckless young. Crossroads empty out, yellow signals blinking three. Nobody expects a single extra thing from me. No emails waiting, no presentation slides to run. Just this small green bottle in my quiet when day is done. Twisting the green wire from the bottle cap tight, leaving half a glass beneath the neon light. Walking slow steps down the quiet lane, washing off the day, letting go the strain. What was I trying to prove today? Standing in that bright elevator, the doors closed and I saw my reflection staring back like a stranger. Subway line 2 static in my headphones. Another email I forgot to send. Now the red sign glows through rainy windows, inviting me to sit near the end. A small green glass bottle sits on dirty wood, damp napkins under my thumb. I watch the clear liquid pool at the bottom, waiting for my eyelids to go numb. My supervisor said good job today, but it felt like a sentence, not praise. Funny how a 20,001 tab can blur 24 hours of a haze. The ice drops into the cup with a tiny click. My mind wanders off to 3 years ago, then snaps back quick. Who am I running for? Who am I fighting for? Pour another drink, let the silence settle in the glass. Watching cars pass by behind the steamed up window glass. I am just a body wearing clothes that cost too much, trying to feel human with a single bitter touch. Tasting cold freedom at midnight, one sip at a time, trading all my best years just to stay in line. Is everybody else this exhausted, or am I just weak at the core? I scroll through photos of people I used to know who don't call me anymore. They look so happy in island sunbeams while I count the dents in my tray. The waiter drops off grilled chicken skewers, steam rising up and floating away. I take a gulp, the burning sensation travels straight down into my chest. It feels honest, at least more honest than saying I'm doing my best. I pay with a plastic card, signature written as a wavy flat line. No one cares if the signature matches as long as the payment goes fine. Pour another drink, let the silence settle in the glass. Watching cars pass by behind the steamed up window glass. I am just a body wearing clothes that cost too much, trying to feel human with a single bitter touch. Tasting cold freedom at midnight, one sip at a time, trading all my best years just to stay in line. Why do I apologize when someone bumps my chair? Why do I practice answers to questions nobody will ask or care? The bottle is empty now, heavy bottom, sitting cold on the grain. I pull my jacket hood up high to cover my eyes from the drizzle and rain. What was I trying to prove today? Maybe tomorrow I will figure it out. Or maybe I will just order another bottle and quiet down the doubt. Steps on the wet asphalt, heading home slow. Where does the day end? I still don't know. final stool groans beneath the heavy weight of my day. I slide into the corner booth, wiping the sweat away, pouring clear liquid into a small glass cup. I wish 16-year-old me could see me sitting up.
You thought 25-minute heaven, every answer clear. That money bought freedom and erased every single fear. Look at me now, counting coins for a simple dish of soup. Trapped inside an endless corporate daily loop. The alcohol burns a gentle path down inside my chest. I stare at my reflection, trying to do my best. If I could send a message back across the fading years, I would tell you not to shed those anxious late night tears.
To my younger self, don't rush to grow so fast. The future isn't golden, moments never last. We are surviving on cold meals and late night drinks alone, building up a quiet life inside this concrete zone. You were doing fine back then, so take a deeper breath. Life is just a long walk between birth and death.
Remember how you stayed awake until 3 in the morning, terrified of failure without a single warning. I wanna touch your shoulder and tell you it is okay. The bad grades didn't ruin us, so throw our dreams away. We didn't become a superstar, we didn't buy a tower, but we earned our daily bread in quiet evening hour. The manager shouted twice today for a small mistake.
I took it on the chin for the salary we make. The condensation drips down to the wooden table frame. No one in this crowded city really knows your name. And maybe that is a blessing, maybe that is a gift, as the heavy fog inside my head begins to slowly lift. Drink up, kid, the road ahead is deep and cold, but you become a person who is brave enough. And to my younger self, don't rush to grow so fast. The future isn't golden, moments never last. We are surviving on cold meals and late night drinks alone, building up a quiet life inside this concrete zone. You were doing fine back then, so take a deeper breath. Life is just a long walk between birth and death. The bottle is empty now, the street lights flicker dim. I leave a tip beside the glass, filled up to the brim. Sleep tight, younger self, you made it all the way. I will carry both our burdens through another long work day. Ember fluorescent tint bleeds into my cold glass. The clock on the wall ticks past midnight, moving slow. You slide onto the corner seat, wet umbrella in hand, exhaling a long breath that echoes my own. We sit in silence while the foam settles down. Two strangers escaping the noise of the subway line. The street lamp outside turns the asphalt amber red, and the ice in your tumbler clinks soft against mine. You tap the counter twice and ask if the seat is taken. I shake my head, sliding over my coaster to make room. Long shift, you asked, loosening your coat buttons longer than usual. I tell you, staring into the foam. Pouring a drink for someone whose name I don't know, carrying dead deadlines and heavy expectations. We leave our titles hanging out on the rain-slick street, finding comfort in these temporary conversations. Just one glass for the exhaustion we both carry, just one toast before we step back into the dark. You tell me about your manager's passive-aggressive notes. I tell you how my screen burned my eyes until 7. We laugh low into our napkins. No fake smiles required, no need to pretend we're climbing towards some heaven. You pass the dried squid, I order us one more round. Strange how a stranger understands the weight of my shoulders better than the people who knew me in school. As the night gets late and the city gets colder, no promises to meet again tomorrow night. No swapping numbers or adding each other online. Just two working people sharing 20 minutes of honest air under the soft yellow glow of the alleyway sign. You pay your tab and not goodbye. I watched the amber light catch your shoulder at the door. The glass is empty now, but the air feels lighter. Back to just like before. You overthink the simple things. You whisper yesterday while waiting for the lift. Now I sit alone, watching ice dissolve inside a heavy glass. The cashier's chip red polish catches light as she hands back my change. A greasy thumbprint smudges page 3 of the laminated menu. Out the wet window, a green delivery scooter skips the change and light. My left shoelace is frayed down to the white plastic cord. I stare at the soy sauce bottle dripping onto the printed paper mat. The steam off the radish soup bends into the chill air. A couple 2 tables over argues about a broken apartment heater. I trace the dartwood grain where someone carved initials back in '99. Everything settles into place when you stop trying to explain yourself. One glass for the quiet hours, one glass for the noise inside my head. Watching tiny bubbles climb the wall of this thick glass mug. The night feels long enough to let the whole day slide away. Just a list of small pieces nobody else will ever notice. I swallow down the cold froth and wash off yesterday's advice. The corner TV plays a replay baseball game with the audio muted. An older woman wipes the adjacent stainless counter with a damp yellow rag. My phone screen lights up with 3 notifications from group chats. I silenced a half-eaten dish of pickled radish sits beside a tall stack of paper napkins. My coat collar still smells like cafeteria fry oil and autumn rain. Someone drops a metal spoon and the sharp clatter dies out in seconds. Maybe yesterday you were right about the way I hold on to everything. Maybe I count the cracks on the concrete floor because I hate looking up. The overhead subway line vibrates softly through the soles of my shoes. I don't reply to the unread messages. I just watch the phone sink to the bottom. The blue neon sign above the door hums a continuous slow note. I leave exact change right beside the damn paper coaster. Stepping out into the alleyway, exhaling one cold cloud of mist. Just small details in the dark, heading back home. Coarse wool sleeve scrapes my weary wrist as I pour the clear liquid in the shallow glass. This cheap blazer fabric feels too rough against my skin. 10 hours at the desk left my shoulders locked in place. I rub the frayed hem near my cuff and suddenly the years strip away. I remember a scratchy scarf you wrapped around my neck when we split a single skewer in the winter frost. The table is quiet now, just me and this condensation on the green bottle. The tactile touch of cheap acrylic weave drags me back to 19 when we had nothing to lose. One shot for the overtime that swallowed up my day. One shot for the memories that never drift away. I rub the rough threads on my sleeve and see your face again. Back when the winter coat was all we needed against the wind. Now I drink alone under these low yellow lights, drowning in a flashback on a Tuesday night. The cotton lining is thin and worn down, just like the energy I gave to my boss today. I trace the loose thread dangling off my elbow, remembering how you used to pull at my sweater when you laughed. We sat on concrete steps drinking warm canned coffee. Now I sit in this corner booth sipping icy spirits. The fabric of my current life feels stiff and unfamiliar, tailored for a man who forgot how to feel. The table is quiet now, just me and this condensation on the green bottle. The tactile touch of cheap acrylic weave drags me back to 19 when we had nothing to lose. One shot for the overtime that swallowed up my day. One shot for the memories that never drift away. I rub the rough threads on my sleeve and see your face again. Back when a winter coat was all we needed against the wind. Now I drink alone under these low yellow lights, drowning in a flashback on a Tuesday night. It is crazy how a texture can unlock a hidden door. I thought I threw those youthful nights on to the cutting room floor. My fingers touch the sleeve and I am 22 again, walking you home through snow that tasted like gin. Before the suits, before the rent, before the silence grew, just a threadbare sweater touching you, clear liquor down my throat, fingers still spinning the frayed breath. The flashback slowly fades away, back to my coat, back to today.
Digital night flickers on the wall clock high as I watch the yellow phone drift and slowly die. Condensation running down a frosted glass, counting down the hours till the weekday shifts pass. I close my burning eyes and let the draft logger burn, dreaming of a calm life I've been trying to earn. I picture a rooftop overlooking calm seas, where Sunday evening doesn't bring anxiety's breeze, pouring clear spirit into cheap glass tonight. Yeah, tracing small bubbles as they catch neon light. Yeah, I am projecting a world past the strain, leaving late office towers in the crowded rain. In 10 long years when my youth is spent, I'll drink aged bourbon and forget what rent meant. I'll laugh at these nights when my pocket's were thin, and thank the weary kid who refused to give in. Here is to the person under future silver stars, sipping quiet comfort far away from these bars. Right now it is vinyl stools and sizzling pork skin, calculating bus fare while the ice melts within. My supervisor's voice still reverberating loud, but I drown out his anger in this midnight crowd. I envision an apartment with an open sunny deck, no one read email notifications on my neck, just a quiet terrace with a smooth vintage red, looking back peacefully on where my path led. Every swallow of this bitter cold brew is a down payment on the life I pursue. I can almost feel the softness of the distant room, a warm summer evening long past this gloom. I raise my dark glass to the silent midnight air, to the future version of me waiting over there. In 10 long years when my youth is spent, I'll drink aged bourbon and forget what rent meant. I'll laugh at these nights when my pockets were thin, and thank the weary kid who refused to give in. Here is to the person under future silver stars, sipping quiet comfort far away from these bars. Yeah, the ice turns to water as the digit shifts past 10. I pay my small bill and I step outside again. Wait for me, future me, don't lock the door. I am building our freedom on this tavern floor. Yeah. Paper sleeves from cheap wooden chopsticks sit folded in half beside my glass. The damp wood smells like steamed rice and cheap soy sauce. I count 6 missed notifications from numbers I don't care to name, and my shoulders drop another inch as the neon buzzes outside. I mix 2 shots into the foam, watching bubbles rise and break like small promises. Nobody asks how my afternoon went, and honestly, I prefer it that way. Every email I sent today felt like throwing gravel into an ocean. I kept nodding at slides while my mind drifted 3 cities away. Now the ice is the glass, a sharp little chime in this empty booth. I leave my phone face down on the sticky table. The cheap liquor burns just enough to quiet the noise in my chest. I don't need a grand reason to sit here until midnight, just 5 minutes of feeling like I belong to myself, before the morning alarm pulls me back into the machine. I
trace the tear on that paper sleeve with my thumb till the edge is free. The guy at the next table is talking about interest rates and quarterly goals. I drink fast enough to swallow his voice, slowly enough to feel the warm spread. 28 years old and my back aches like an old folding chair. I used to think my 20s would feel like a movie soundtrack. Now it's just subway transfers and lukewarm soup at 10 p.m. Every email I sent today felt like throwing gravel into an ocean. I kept nodding at slides while my mind drifted 3 cities away. Now the ice hits the glass, a sharp little chime in this empty booth. I leave my phone face down on the sticky table. The cheap liquor burns just enough to quiet the noise in my chest. I don't need a grand reason to sit here until midnight. Just 5 minutes of feeling like I belong to myself. Ooh, before the morning alarm pulls me back into the machine. Maybe tomorrow I'll care about deadlines and performance reviews again. Hey, maybe tomorrow I'll wear the smile they pay me to wear. But right here under this flickering fluorescent tube, I'm just a guy nursing a $5 drink, staring at paper trash. The paper sleeve is soaked in spilled brew now. I empty the glass in one last gulp, step outside into the cool night air. I leave my phone face down just for tonight. Delivery engine scream down the alleyway outside, reverberating off the brick and tinted glass. You drop your heavy coat across the back of the chair, loose and tie, hanging like a truce at last. I ordered the hot stew before you walk through the door, knowing exactly how your Tuesday usually goes. You do not have to say a single word just yet. Let the steam hit your face while the clear liquid flows. Look at us now, chasing deadlines all week long, trading 20-something dreams for a corporate song. Slide your shot glass over, let me fill it to the brim. We can drown out the bosses as the street lights dim. Leave your badge inside your pocket, forget the unread mail. Inside this small alley spot, nobody is gonna fail. Drink it down slow, let the burning set you free. Tonight you do not have to be who they want you to be. Just my old friend sitting right across from me, breathing in the chill of late night company. Yeah, your boss spent 40 minutes picking apart your draft. I read your cryptic text message and almost laughed, not because it is funny, but because I know the feeling. Staring at fluorescent lights while your mind is reeling. Remember back in college when we swore we would run the world? Now we just hope the weekend does not get derailed. This world past the side dishes over, wash the bitterness away. We survived another round of earning at old pay. Look at us now, chasing deadlines all week long, trading 20-something dreams for a corporate song. Slide your shot glass over, let me fill it to the brim. We can drown out the bosses as the street lights dim. Leave your badge inside your pocket, forget the unread mail. Inside this small alley spot, nobody is gonna fail. Drink it down slow, let the burning set you free. Tonight you do not have to be who they want you to be. Just my old friend sitting right across from me, breathing in the chill of late night company. We are not young enough to make excuses anymore, but we are not old enough to close the final door. So when the midnight bus screeches past the curb outside, know you have a brother who will never ask you to hide. One more shot before the subway lines go dark. Leave the stress right here, do not carry back the spark. Get home safe, man, text me when you open your front door. We will do this again next week for sure. Sure. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sweet roasted sesame oil floats across the alley behind the station, mixing with damp concrete in late October air. He unbuttons his top collar, shoulders heavy with the weight, stepping through the sliding door into the orange glare. The apron-clad auntie does not ask him what he wants tonight. She just brings a small green bottle and a steaming broth. He taps his thumb against the frosted glass, wiping down his table with a faded cloth. The glowing neon sign reflects in his poured glass. He watches little bubbles rise and disappear so fast. No urgent emails left to answer on his darkened phone, surrounded by a dozen strangers, feeling quite alone. He lifts the rim and swallows down the sting, trading all the pressure for the peace a quiet drink can bring. The city keeps on moving while his world stays still, counting down the hours at the bottom of the bill. One sharp goal to wash away the manager's demands, just an ordinary worker with cold, tired hands. Yeah, he listens to the laughter from the office crew nearby, remembering when he had that ambition in his eye. Now promotion charts and quarter goals just sound like distant noise. He prefers the simple clinker glass to all the corporate poise. He picks a piece of spicy pork with wooden chopsticks slow, chewing on the silence while the street lights start to glow. His reflection in the window wears a faded, weary smile, finding refuge in this tiny tent for just a little while. The glowing neon sign reflects in his poured glass. He watches little bubbles rise and disappear so fast. No urgent emails left to answer on his darkened phone, surrounded by a dozen strangers, feeling quite alone. He lifts the rim and swallows down the sting, trading all the pressure for the peace a quiet drink can bring. The city keeps on moving while his world stays still, counting down the hours at the bottom of the bill. One sharp goal to wash away the manager's demands, just an ordinary worker with cold, tired hands. The second bottle opens with a soft and crisp release. He pays his 20,000 won to purchase temporary peace. He does not need a grand success or headlines in the news, just 30 minutes off the clock to let his spirit loose. He zips his jacket up against the midnight chill, leaving behind the empty green upon the windowsill. A quiet walk toward the last train home tonight, fading slowly into the city's pale street light. A stray thought punctures the quiet as cold sweat pulls along the glass. The white lens frames a solitary store where shadows stretch and streetlights pass. A silver tray reflects the neon sign, flickering red across a laminated menu card. The steam from boiling broth fades in the air while heavy traffic outside lowers its guard. I count the scratches on the Formica wood, a sharp cutaway to my empty hands. Depth of field shifts to the green glass neck, clear liquid splashes in a low-angle shot. The ambient noise of the late bistro dims, leaving just the sound of a swallowing throat. Every unset line hangs like ambient fog. The color gray turns cool and slightly blue. This is the scene after 8 p.m. A wide shot of a solitary table, one glass filled to the brim with clarity, washing off the day's heavy label. No dramatic sound effects, no orchestral swell, just the quiet click of porcelain on wood. I wash down the hours I spent pretending and freeze the frame right where I stood. Close up on the phone screen turned away, dark display showing no missed notifications. The waiter wipes the counter 3 feet off, trapped in the same soft lit station. Raindrops track diagonal lines on the window pane, distorting yellow headlights into blurred flares. The quiet thought returns and takes its seat, asking why I carry all these unspoken cares. Depth of field shifts to the green glass neck, clear liquid splashes in a low angle shot. The ambient noise of the late bistro dims, leaving just the sound of a swallowing throat. Every unset line hangs like ambient fog. The color gray turns cool and slightly blue. This is the scene after 8 p.m.
a.m. The white shroud of a solitary table, one glass filled to the brim with clarity, washing off the day's heavy label. No dramatic sound effects, no orchestral swell, just a quiet click of porcelain on wood. I wash down the hours I spent pretending and freeze the frame right where I stood. Slow pan left across the empty chairs, the neon sign buzzes at 60 hertz. The camera lingers on the remaining ice, dissolving slow like small forgotten hurts. A single exhale creates a cloud of mist, then fades into the dim corner light. Fade to black on an empty glass, street lines blur into soft bouquet rings. The scene ends without a resolution, just the stillness that midnight brings. Final shot held for 5 seconds long. The quiet takes over once again. Why am I holding my breath until the beer phone drops? The neon sign outside the convenience store blinks twice then stops. My boss said good job today, but his eyes were on his watch, and I said thank you like I meant it, swallowing the slight notch. In my pride, the glass is cold, my knees are numb. Did I forget to reply to my mother's message again? The green bottle sits like an unread email on the table. I count the scuffs on my cheap leather shoes, unable to remember what I actually wished for back in college. Thoughts drift like condensation running down the glass, wondering how many Tuesdays I can let just pass. The ice melts down, the liquor thins out slow. Where does all the quiet anger go? Pour in another shot just to slow the racing track inside my mind, leaving the heavy bag of tomorrow's problems somewhere far behind. A little buzz to make the silence feel like a choice, instead of just the sudden absence of every loud voice. We drink the bitter clarity, we swallow down the day, watching the steam from the instant soup slowly fade away. My friend posted a photo of his newborn child online. I pressed the heart icon while chewing on a dried squid line. Am I late to the party, or did I buy the wrong ticket? The street light flickers off, then back on rhythmic. 501 coin jingling in my coat pocket, my energy spent like a burnt out socket. I wonder if my dog remembers how I used to stay up late writing songs. Now I just scroll through short videos until my head aches and longs for a sleep that doesn't feel like a temporary power outage. Throw in another shot just to slow the racing track inside my mind, leaving the heavy bag of tomorrow's problems somewhere far behind. A little buzz to make the silence feel like a choice, instead of just the sudden absence of every loud voice. We drink the bitter clarity, we swallow down the day, watching the steam from the instant soup slowly fade away. Maybe tomorrow I'll wake up before the alarm rings out. Maybe I'll say what I mean instead of nodding with doubt. But right now the alcohol tastes like a warm truce, a temporary treaty with the life that's far too loose. The yellow street lamp paints the pavement soft and deep, and for 10 minutes I don't care if I fall asleep. Glass touches glass, even if it's just my own reflection, tipping the last drop in a quiet direction. One more breath, the city keeps running, but I'm standing still, just standing still. This wooden swivel seat heavy under all my cumulative hours. I draw my coat across the back and listen as the ice begins to yield. The table shines beneath the faint yellow bulbs of this corner pub. I pour clear liquid to the rim and finally let my posture break. I see a faint reflection in the glass that used to look like you 8 years younger, running through the storm with leaking shoes. Pen panicking about a test or an interview that barely matter. You spend so many nights awake staring at the ceiling grid, terrified that every minor mistake would burn your whole life down. Now I sit here with this glass, wishing I could send a postcard back, just to tell you that the world did not collapse when you fell short. To the kid who stayed up late, sweating over tomorrow, we made it through the fire, even if we carry scars. Take a deep breath and lower your shoulders for once. The future isn't perfect, but we learned how to survive. So put down your books, stop checking the clock. You do not have to conquer everything tonight. I remember how you skipped lunch just to save $5 for the bus. You thought success was a straight line running up a mountain peak. Here I am today, sitting in a quiet neighborhood spot, learning that the summit is just a quiet booth in a hot broth. You cried in stairwells when the rejection emails filled your inbox. I wish I could stand beside you on those frozen subway platforms and hand you this glass, telling you those worries fade to dust. We still get anxious when the screen lights up past 9 p.m. We still second-guess the words we spoke in afternoon meetings. But the house did not fall down and the sky stayed bright above us. I am writing this on a paper napkin soaked in condensation, sending it backward across the decades, straight into your hands. The chair holds my full weight now. Without a tremble, I do not feel like I am floating away into the dark anymore. Rest easy, younger me. I finished the shift for both of us. Indigo sodium glow, based the alleyway, reflecting off the wet pavement where we stay. I ordered clear liquor to numb the overtime. You sat 2 stools over with an exhausted sign. You looked at my empty glass and caught my eyes, asked if the week was giving me bad surprises. I just laughed softly and poured a fresh shot, admitting my supervisor gave me everything he got. We do not even know each other's name or age, just 2 ghost figures on a midnight stage, swapping stories through the rising steam, chasing down the remnants of an honest dream. We clink our glasses in the quiet dim, filling up the space right to the rim. A stranger's wisdom in a tiny glass, hoping that tomorrow doesn't move too fast. You tell me everybody breaks a bit inside, so take a deep breath. Nowhere left to hide. 2 nameless workers in the midnight street, finding comfort where our troubles meet. Yeah, you told me you used to care about every mistake, staying up till dawn for some middle manager's sake. Then you realize nobody remembers your pain when the subways reset and it starts to rain. I slid the plate of snacks toward your side, admitting all the times I swallowed down my pride. You nodded like an old friend who already knew the heavy price of trying to pull through. No promises to keep when the morning comes, no exchanging numbers when the engine hums. Just 5 raw minutes of complete truth, trading away the last illusions of our youth. The sodium light turns pale with approaching dawn. You pay your bill and then you are gone. Glass empty on the countertop where 2 lonely orbits had to stop. Yesterday you mentioned my voice was dropping lower every month. I did not answer then, just swallow cold tea and pull my collar up. Tonight at 8 I noticed small things in this basement corner bar. A crooked poster of Jeju Island pinned beside a rusty jar. The waitress wipes table for twice, though nobody sat there today. A tiny tear in my canvas shoe
where gray dirt sneaks its way. The ice cube in my sour apple drink has 5 sharp corners left. My thumb leaves grease on the phone display, half written and bereft. Notice how the coaster sticks when I lift the heavy glass. Notice how the neon sign ticks as the minutes pass. Everything is sitting still while the city moves outside, just counting tiny details that I usually try to hide. You said I look distant yesterday, and maybe you were right. I am cataloging every scratch under this yellow light. A scratch fork, a lukewarm soup, a receipt torn in half. Finding comfort in the ordinary, background photograph. Just one glass after 6 p.m. to take the edges off the frame. Watching small things stay intact while nothing stays the same. Yeah, the bartender has 3 black pens tucked into his apron string. A woman near the doorway keeps spinning her silver ring. The soy sauce bottleneck is sticky with the dark brown crust. My plastic transit card has scratches filled with subway dust. I notice how my left shoulder leans higher than my right. The wall clock loses 3 whole seconds every single night. A folded napkin holds a phone number that nobody will call. I trace the hairline fracture running down the plaster wall. Said I look distant yesterday, and maybe you were right. I am cataloging every scratch under this yellow light. A scratch fork, a lukewarm soup, a receipt torn in half. Finding comfort in the ordinary, background photograph. Just one glass after 6 p.m. to take the edges off the frame. Watching small things stay intact while nothing stays the same. When you spend all day delivering what everybody wants to hear, the world breaks down to minor bits. You keep exceptionally near. The squeak of rubber soles against wet tile near the door. A single drop of highball liquid landing on the floor. It is easier to count the scuffs than ask what went so wrong. It is easier to sit right here and let the night grow long. Yesterday you said my voice was getting quiet. Tonight the ice melts down to water in the quiet. A salt shaker with 3 clogged holes, a quiet stool, a heart that slows. Small observations keep me here before I go. Stiff, starched cotton collar chafes my neck as I unbutton 2 buttons and lean against the booth. The dark pub smells of grilled pork and fried onions. I pour clear cold liquid into a glass with no stem. My cuff rubs against the farm market table edge. Rough weave scratching my wrist like a no regret. Suddenly I am standing under the subway entrance, looking at your soaked canvas tote bag in the rain. The ice drops down into the clear glass vessel. Liquor turns into a foggy mirror on the table. 5 long years vanish in a single blink. I can still feel your damn sleeve pressed against mine. Pouring out the noise from a 12-hour shift, tasting winter rain from a summer memory. We were broken, soaked to the bone back then, wearing secondhand coats and chasing foolish dreams. Now I pay the tab with a shiny corporate card, but I'm still that boy shivering in your backyard. I take a deep gulp, burning down my dry throat, recalling how you fixed my undone top button. Your fingers were freezing, smelling like citrus lotion, sharing 1 broken umbrella and half a box of chicken. Look at me now, sitting in this tailor navy suit, work emails buzzing softly inside my leather boot. This fabric is expensive, but it suffocates my chest. I would trade this Italian wool just to be a guest. The bartender clears away the empty side dishes. The ice melts completely, diluting what remains. I pinch a loose thread hanging from my left sleeve, remembering how you pulled it once and made us laugh. Why does security feel so hollow tonight? Why does this heavy coat feel so tight? 1 final shot for the ghost, sitting across. The fabric softens as the liquor takes hold. Closing my eyes and the Bright 2140 glows on my wristwatch while the ice melts down. The orange vinyl tent sags beneath the damp October sky. Another 8 hours of formatting slides to match someone else's taste. I pour clear liquor into a glass that costs less than my subway fare. I shut my eyes against the glare of passing yellow taxis, and suddenly I am sitting in a house 20 years from tonight. The floorboards are dark oak and the garden outside is completely quiet. Will my shoulders finally unknot when I turn 45? Will I look back at this crowded alley with a peaceful smile? The pork broth bubbles on the small gas burner between us, and I set my mind forward into the life I am building line by line. I see myself on a white wooden porch at midnight, uncorking something heavy without checking the price tag first. Telling a younger ghost that the endless summertime was just a hallway, a noisy, dusty corridor leading to a room filled with fresh air. I lift this cheap glass to that older patient man. Keep holding the door open, I'm walking toward you. In that future kitchen there are no unread team chat notifications. No panic at 3 in the morning over an unassigned error code. Just the hum of a large refrigerator and a cat sleeping near the door. I will sip age barely spirits and swallowing shots to fall asleep. My hands will be steady, I'm bothered by back coffee and deadline stress. I picture my reflection with silver at the temples and a relaxed jawline. Right now the damp cold seeps through my cheap synthetic coat. My socks are soaked from the puddle outside the exit gate. But picturing him sitting in the quiet future living room makes the stinging drink taste like a down payment on peace. 2150 blinks on my phone screen as I pay the bill. The night clock keeps ticking whether I am tired or not. To the man standing on that quiet porch decades ahead, save a glass on the side table, I'm coming home. A single printed paper matchbook rest beside the clear glass filled with cheap diluted spirits. I stare into the matches, counting what is left. My thumb traces the cardboard edge until I feel it. Yeah, the manager sent 3 emails right at 5:15. I smiled and said okay like I was made of tin. I'm sitting in this corner where the lights stay low. I wonder when my real life is supposed to show. The ice cube makes a small crack against the glass. Another quiet evening watching people pass. I didn't answer when my mother called at 8. I didn't want to tell her why I'm eating late. The bitter liquid is my throat and burns down slow. I count the tiny victories nobody gets to know. Just swallowing the quiet, let intention fall. Just making it through another day, that's all. I wash away the polite nods I gave today, the fake smiles that I traded for my monthly pay. One glass to settle down the noise inside my head. One glass to forget every foolish thing I said. The world moves fast outside this yellow window pane, while I sit here alone and listen to the rain. I am not broken, just a little weary grown, learning how to breathe when I am on my own. My reflection in the table lacquer looks so blurred. I spent 9 hours speaking without saying a single real word. Adjusted all the spreadsheets till my eyelids burned, exchanging precious daylight for the checks I earned. I tapped my index finger on the matchbook cover, remembering when summer nights felt like a lover. Now every season feels like autumn coming cold. Is this what people mean by simply growing old? I swallow half the glass and let my shoulders drop, wishing all the ticking in my head would stop. The bitter liquid hits my throat and burns down slow. I count the tiny victories nobody gets to know. Just swallowing the quiet, let intention fall. Just making it through another day, that's all. I wash away the polite nods I gave today, the fake smiles that I traded for my monthly pay. One glass to settle down the noise inside my head. One glass to forget every foolish thing I said. The world moves fast outside this yellow window pane, while I sit here alone and listen to the rain. I am not broken, just a little weary grown, learning how to breathe when I am on my own. slowly slip. The matchbook stays untouched upon the wood. I survived today the best I could. I finish up the last drop, leave a bill, and step into the night while the city's still. Train wheels screech along the tracks above our street. You drop your heavy backpack right beside your feet. I watched you slump into that narrow booth, trading your ambition for a quieter truth. You loosen up your collar, rub your tired eyes, exhausted by the bosses and their endless lies. I pour a shot for you before the food arrives. Just two worn out kids trying to fix our lives. You don't have to pretend that you're doing fine with me. We spent our 20s running from who we used to be. So let the steam rise up from this boiling broth. Wipe the sweat and deadline dust right off. Pour your restless mind out first tonight. Let the bitter cold glass turn things right. You work 12 hours just to stay afloat. Now let the warmth clear out your throat. We are not behind, we are right on time. Drink it down and leave the stress behind. Remember back when 25 felt far away. Now 30's knocking hard and demands its pay. You tell me about the project that went up in smoke, how you held back tears and pretended it was a joke. I fill your glass again and push the dishes near. You don't need a lecture, just an open ear. The chill rhythm from the speaker keeps a steady beat, while neon lights wash out the quiet street. You don't have to pretend that you're doing fine with me. We spent our 20s running from who we used to be. So let the steam rise up from this boiling broth. Wipe the sweat and deadline dust right off. Pour your restless mind out first tonight. Let the bitter cold glass turn things right. You work 12 hours just to stay afloat. Now let the warmth clear out your throat. We are not behind, we are right on time. Drink it down and leave the stress behind. When tomorrow comes, the subway line will call, and we will suit up tight and face the wall. But for these 2 brief hours in this dimly lit place, you can drop the armor off your face. Slide another bottle close to your side. There is nothing left you need to hide. Train wheels screech along the tracks above. Here's to stay insane, my brother, my love. Drink it slow. We are alright. Yeah, damn garlic vapor hangs inside the plastic 10th Street cart. He unbuttons his top collar and rests his briefcase on the dirt floor. The vendor sets a clear green bottle down beside a paper cup. He watches small bubbles climb the glass surface, cold and clear. His team leader's endless complaints still ring in his ears, but the smell of bubbling anchovy broth softens every sharp edge. He lifts the glass with 2 fingers and swallows in one gulp. He tilts his chin toward the torn yellow canopy overhead. The low rumble of the subway line vibrates through his boots. Another 12 hours traded for subway fares and rent. He pours a fill for the stool sitting empty across from him. One glass of green liquor for the thoughts he couldn't share. One glass for the heavy suit he was forced to wear. The city lights blur through the steam off his soup bowl. He drinks until the dark thoughts relinquish their control. Under the dull fluorescent glow near Mapo station line, he leaves the heavy burden of the afternoon behind. The smell of charred pork belly lingers on his wool coat. His phone display flashes bright with late emails he ignores. Row after row of spreadsheets wait for him at 9 a.m. But for 30 short minutes, his universe is just this wooden tabletop. He spins the bottle cap across the scratch red plastic, tracking the silent pep beside a dish of pickled radish. He is not searching for answers, only a brief pause in the noise. Everyone under this canvas is fighting a battle inside.
3 seats downstairs blankly at her warm broth. A courier accounts crumpled bills with grease stain knuckles. The smell of hot roasted barley tea fills the chilly midnight air. No words are spoken between them, yet everybody understands the quiet relief of setting down a heavy pair of hands. He leaves 2 bills on the table and steps into the cool alley. The night air smells of rain and wet asphalt beneath his shoes. He pulls his scarf up close and walks toward the platform stairs. 1 quick glass was all it took to clear away the daily strain. Yeah, he walks into the late train, ready for tomorrow. A random question pierces total silence, right as the clear pour hits the rim. The yellow canopy flickers in the alley. Shadows stretch thin across the tin tabletop. Steam rises slowly from the spicy pork plate. My coat hangs heavy on the plastic chair back. The street lamp hums a low hum outside, while I count the air bubbles trapped in green glass. The vapor from my breath blends with the night. I check my watch, then slide it out of view. No urgent calls left waiting on the screen, just quiet settling over what I had to do. Take a slow sip as the cold liquid stings, watching the city dim as golden neon rings. Another workday fades into a quiet blur, leaving the heavy thoughts to linger where they were, under the canvas roof. Safe from the midnight chill, I hold my glass up while the world stands still. The lady behind the counter chops green onions, the rhythm steady like a ticking clock. A distant horn echoes through the damp air. 2 streets away a bus slows down as block. My reflection wobbles in the bitter clear shot, tracing the lines around my tired eyes. I swallow down the heat and exhale the smoke, watching the condensation softly freeze and rise. No speech is needed for a table set for 1. No explanations for the things left undone, just the quiet clink of glass against the plate and settling into peace before it gets too late. The last pour settles clear and deep. The city slowly turns to sleep. I pull my collar up against the breeze and leave the quiet corner at my ease. Where do all these unwritten answers go when the day ends? My manager sent my report like conviction, or maybe it's a vision. I cannot remember. The green bottle sits next to a bowl of salted peanuts nobody ordered. My feet ache inside these cheap leather shoes I bought on sale last November. Is it normal to feel like I am watching my own life through a foggy window? The liquid burns down my throat quick and sharp like a sudden memory. Screen lights up with a missed call from my mother, but I put it face down. I wonder if the subway is still running, or if I even wanna go home yet. Thoughts drifting sideways like smoke from the outdoor grill, counting the years I spent just waiting for something to feel real. 1 shot for the deadline, I barely managed to meet. Another for the silence, settling heavy on this narrow street. Pouring clear liquor over thoughts that refuse to settle down. Just a tired ghost walking through a loud and crowded town. I ask myself why I run so hard for things I do not even keep. Tasting the bitterness, waiting for my restless mind to sleep. It is just another late night off the clock, taking life shot by shot. Did I smile enough today, or did my face stay locked in that cold neutral mass? Group chat has 40 unread messages about someone else's wedding registry. I swear the ice in the water pitcher, watching the bubbles rise and break. My promotion review is next month, but honestly I just want a week of quiet. Someone at the table behind me laughs about an interest rate hike. I digest my cold broth thinking about the apartment lease ending in June. We spent our 20s learning how to survive, but who taught us how to live? The condensation drips onto my thumb, cool and
persistent like anxiety. Thoughts drifting sideways like smoke from the outdoor grill. Counting the years I spent just waiting for something to feel real. One shot for the deadline, I barely managed to meet. Another for the silence, settling heavy on this narrow street. Pouring clear like all the thoughts that refuse to settle down. Just a tired ghost walking through a loud and crowded town. I ask myself why I run so hard for things I do not even keep. Tasting the bitterness, waiting for my restless mind to sleep. It is just another late night off the clock, taking life shot by shot. Nobody warned me that growing up meant carrying quiet regret, accumulating receipts for meals eaten alone while the sun sets. Maybe tomorrow I will wake up with a clearer plan in my head, but right now the alcohol is softly untangling every thread. Where do all these unwritten answers go? The table is empty now, just me and the faint hum of the refrigerator in the corner. One last sip before I step back out into the night. Still no answers, just me. The heavy chair creaks under my exhausted weight as I settle in. I pour a shot of clear soju and watch the ripples spin. Looking down at the glass, I catch a reflection from 10 years ago. A terrified teenager studying late in the winter snow. You were constantly worrying if your choices would ever pay off. Skipping meals in the library, ignoring that dry winter cough. Now here I sit after a long shift, tired in a different way. Wishing I could call your old flip phone and tell you it's okay. The cold glass touches my lips in the quiet restaurant corner. I wish this drink could travel back to that stressed out mourner, to tell you that we made it through the worst of the dark, even if the life we built didn't leave a legendary mark. So drink up the fear you carried back at 18. I'm standing in the future that you only dreamed. It is not a pure gold and the corporate suit fits tight, and the rent takes most of the money I make at night. But you survived every panic attack you thought would kill, and I am right here now, paying off your overdue bill. You used to sit on the fire, skip crying when grades came back, convinced that one small mistake put our future off track. Now I sit in boardroom meetings where nobody asks about grades. They just care if I can keep my composure before the light fades. I take another sip and let the bitter warmth slide down my throat, thanking you for never giving up on that old torn winter coat. You thought 25 meant having every answer locked in stone. At 30, I just smiled at how much you hated being alone. So drink up the fear you carried back at 18. Oh, I'm standing in the future that you only dream. It is not a pure gold and the corporate suit fits tight, and the rent takes most of the money I make at night. But you survived every panic attack you thought would kill, and I am right here now, paying off your overdue bill. If you could sit across this table right now, I would fill a small glass and tell you to slow down. Stop counting every minute of sleep you missed this week. Stop treating every minor stumble like a mountain peak. The world never ended when you failed that entrance test. You were always doing your absolute best. The chair still carries my weight, but my breathing feels light. I finish the bottle and step out into the soul night. The younger me, you did better than fine. I'll lift this empty glass to you one last time. Sickly yellow halogen pulls upon this scratch lemonade counter near the back door. My shoulders hang like coats forgotten on a rack. The guy 2 seats down pushes his glass over watching the ice melt into pale brown liquid. He says you look like you fought 3 meetings and lost everyone. I laugh without sound, sliding my phone face down. He tells me 32 is just learning how to swallow bad news quietly. The soju glass gets filled before I even ask. Clear spirit reflecting the dim tungsten glow above us. 2 strangers comparing bruised heels under the table, finding comfort in a story we both already know. So pour another round for the graveyard shift inside our minds. We trade 30 seconds of truth before the subway stops running. No names exchanged, just heavy exhales in the cold air. Late night quiet, drinking away the residue of our 9 to 5. Let the bitter sting wash out the leftover deadlines. Yeah, he taps his fingers against the warm paper menu. Mentions his team leader blamed him for a misprojection. I tell him my inbox is 50 unread warnings waiting for tomorrow. We nod in rhythm like old friends who never met until tonight. He says the worst part isn't the overtime hours, it's forgetting what you actually wanted when you started out. The orange neon sign outside stutters against the alley wall, casting long streaks across our half-eaten dry snacks. The soju glass gets filled before I even ask. Clear spirit reflecting the dim tungsten glow above us. 2 strangers comparing bruised heels under the table, finding comfort in a story we both already know. So pour another round for the graveyard shift inside our minds. We trade 30 seconds of truth before the subway stops running. No names exchanged, just heavy exhales in the cold air. Late night quiet, drinking away the residue of our 9 to 5. Let the bitter sting wash out the leftover deadlines. He pulls out a bill and leaves it by his plate. He stands up slowly, adjusting his crumpled trench coat. Take care of yourself, he says, with a brief nod toward the door. I watch his reflection disappear through the steam on the window. Just a momentary detour on a long, lonely commute home. Sickly yellow light stays warm against my knuckles. 1 glass remains full, waiting for nobody. The last train hums beneath the street surface. I finish the shot and step into the night. Yeah. Yesterday the manager said my answers lack conviction. I sit tracing scratches on this laminate tabletop, watching the fly circle a saucer of pickled radishes. My thumb feels the rough edge of a worn keyring. A delivery worker wipes grease off his phone screen. The neon sign outside skips a beat every 7 seconds. I take a sip of cheap lager mixed with clear liquor, noticing how cold glass stings a tiny cut on my lip. The bus driver across the room eats soup in silence. His left shoestring is untied, dragging on wet towel. I count for unread emails I want open until morning, and 1 small tear in the lining of my coat pocket. These tiny details fill up the space between shifts. When the heavy pressure of the day finally shifts, a green bottle sits like half empty in my hand, while I catalog everything I didn't plan. The hum of the fridge, the stain on my sleeve, small little truths I can't actually believe. Yesterday you remarked that I look past people when they talk. Now I stare at a soy sauce bottle with a crusty lid. The guy 2 tables over has 3 missed calls from mom. He turns his phone over face down, just like I did. The woman at the register was retying her hair with a blue band. Her reflection catches in the mirror behind the grill smoke. A silver coin sits jammed inside the napkin dispenser. I try to pull it out, but my fingers are too numb. The clock on the wall ticks 3 minutes too fast. I watch the foam on my glass dissolve into thin air. Someone leaves the heavy plastic curtain half open, letting in the smell of wet asphalt and fright turning. These tiny details fill up the space between shifts. When the heavy pressure of the day finally shifts, a green ball can't actually believe. Maybe paying attention to useless little things is the only way I keep from counting what I lost. A chip rim on a glass, a faint smell of smoke, every tiny observation, keeping track of the cost. Yesterday you said I was losing my focus. Tonight I notice every scratch on this table. One last sip of clear drink, the neon flickering once more. Quiet steps out the door. Frayed fleece cuffs brush against my table while the clear liquid spills slightly over the rim. This cheap material always catches on my watch, same as it did 5 when it's back. I take a slow sip, feeling the burn settle into a weary chest. Suddenly I am back in that cramped basement studio, wearing this exact jacket. We shared a single bottle of cheap fruit wine, dreaming of salaries we make today. You laugh when the thread pulled loose near my elbow. The green bottle reflects the dim red light above. Every swallow pulls the past back into focus. I thought succeeding meant shedding these worn out seams. Now I sit alone, missing the cold room where we stayed warm. One drink turns the clock around, rewinding every quiet regret. The soft friction of old cloth brings back the night we met. I traded rough cotton nights for tailored silk suits, but sitting here tonight I'm searching for our original roots. Pour another glass into the silence of 12 past 10. My current boss compliments my sharp lapels every Tuesday morning. I smile, accept the praise, and mask the exhaustion behind polished shoes. But tonight I unbutton the stiff outer shell and pull on this layer. The pill fabric feels real against my knuckles, rough and honest. I remember us counting spare change for subway fares after midnight studio sessions. We had no savings account, just endless hours and shared headphones. The green bottle reflects the dim red light above. Every swallow pulls the past back into focus. I thought succeeding meant shedding these worn out seams. Now I sit alone, missing the cold room where we stayed warm. One drink turns the clock around, rewinding every quiet regret. The soft friction of old cloth brings back the night we met. I traded rough cotton nights for tailored silk suits, but sitting here tonight I'm searching for our original roots. Pour another glass into the silence of 12 past 10. We swore we will never become the quiet drinkers in the corner, yet here I am, tracing the frayed stitches with my thumb. The alcohol softens the edge of the corporate noise. I wish I could text you that I still have this old sweater. The glass, it's empty now, fleecely resting on the sticky wooden desk. I pay the bill and step out into the midnight breeze, still wearing the past beneath my heavy winter coat.